Hello and welcome to Education at SSBJ online video tutorials. In this video tutorial, we'll pick up few important concepts of two chapters. They are crop production and management, microorganisms, friend and foe. These two chapters are part of your monthly test and you're going to appear for it shortly, and therefore we'll deal with few of the important contents of these chapters. However, you have to study in detail of these chapters.
What is crop? When plants of same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale is called crop. When plant of same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale, then it is called crop. And cropping pattern, we have got two types: kharif crop, rabi crops. And why kharif crops? They are grown in rainy season and rabi crops are in the winter season, and here are the examples. And then we have studied on the stages, different stages of production of crops. Here are the stages of production of crops. These are important because if these questions are asked in the examination, you have to remember this. However, you have already studied what fertilizer is. It's a chemical substance, it's a man-made, and so it is inorganic. It is synthesized in laboratory and manufactured in factories. But manure is natural. So the first difference is fertilizer is man-made inorganic salt and manure is a natural substance obtained by the decomposition of cattle, dung and plant residues. Fertilizer, as we have already studied, that they are manufactured in, prepared in factories, whereas manure is made in the fields with the help of microbes, microorganisms, especially earthworms. Vermicompost is a manure. Fertilizer, since it's a chemical substance, it doesn't provide any humus, because humus means the remains of dead plants and animals together got. And humus increases the water retaining ability of the soil. The more you use fertilizer for a long time, then we need to use more water. So water management becomes more difficult, whereas if we use manure, we can manage water because it holds water for a long time. But as far as nutrition level is concerned, fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients. Relatively, manure is little less as far as nutrient contents are concerned, as far as nutrition level is concerned. But fertilizers sometimes can act as an overdose. It will increase the toxicity of the soil. So we need to use carefully a fertilizer. But manure has lot of advantages. As I have already told, it enhances the water holding capacity of soil, and it makes soil porous, small gaps where air can move in. The exchange of gases is easy. So manure makes the soil porous. The third one is it increases the number of friendly microbes. This is very important because these are the microbes convert the dead plants again into a manure. And the nature of the soil, the texture of the soil is so friendly for the plant roots. They can penetrate properly. So it improves the texture of the soil. We have learned what is irrigation, one of the steps towards crop production and management. Now what is irrigation? Irrigation is simply a supply of water to crops at regular intervals, right? In olden days, manpower was used to supply water. People used to draw water from the well, sometimes by using pulley system. These are all traditional methods of irrigation. Sometimes by using chains. Which are winded on a huge wheel, so that when the wheel rotates, a bucket which is attached to the wheel could collect some water, and when it comes up on the surface of the ground, it can pour that water. Heavy weights were made use to lift the water from the well. There was a method which was followed called rahat. Animals were made use to get the water from the well. Now you must have seen here in this picture a great wheel, and then small containers were tied. So when it rotates, it goes down and reaches the surface of the water, goes inside the water and collects the water and comes up. The whole process was to be get it done by using animals, and sometimes humans used to rotate also. But these practices changed once the motor, electric motor, was invented, and that has changed the way how the irrigation is done in the field of agriculture. As the population increased, requirement of crop also increased. So as the crop requirement increased, the growth of more of crop requires more of irrigation, more of water. Now we have to manage water. And how do we manage water? By using sprinklers and drip irrigation. Sprinklers, you must have seen, at one end motor will push the water from the well, and that water goes through the pipe and enters to the sprinkler here, a small device which contains small hole around, which rotates also sometimes, and with that water speed it goes around and sprinkle all around the farm. Second best way of managing water is a drip irrigation. You have already seen the demonstration of how drip irrigations can be done at your level, right? The water is controlled here, and supply of water is to the plant is by drip. And next we have seen the protection from weeds, right? And what are weeds? Weeds are unwanted plants, and they trouble the actual plants which are which are planted. So they are to be removed. They are to be removed either manually or by using chemicals. And the chemicals which are used to remove weeds are called weedicides. But spraying weedicides may affect the health of the farmers. So they should be used very carefully.
As we have already
And here
studied that
we have
microorganisms
summarized.
are 4 types. They are, the first one is bacteria, the second one is fungi, the third one is protozoa, and the fourth one is algae. Write short notes on useful microorganisms. We use microorganisms in converting milk into curd, and then microorganisms are useful in bread making industries. Next, we have seen the importance of yeast. We have learned that the food for the yeast is carbohydrate, and yeast is responsible for fermentation process. Bread becomes smooth because of yeast, and again because of the process called fermentation. The next we have learnt was usefulness of yeast in medicines. It is rich in enzymes, vitamin B and minerals. Rhizobium is one such bacteria which fixes nitrogen, means it helps the plants to receive nitrogen in usable form. Antibiotic is a medicine which is made out of microbes. Penicillin was one such example. Alexander Fleming is the first one who discovered penicillin. Microorganisms helps in decomposition, and then these microorganisms helps us to maintain environment in proper balanced way. Microorganisms converts waste into biogas. They will not affect our body. So antibodies are the substance our body produces to fight disease causing microbes. And what is antigen? Antigen is any substance that causes your immune system to produce antibodies. And what are pathogens? Disease causing microbes are called pathogens. I have just told you Edward Jenner was responsible for a vaccine, discovery of vaccine. What does vaccine contain? Vaccine contain either a dead or weak version of a microorganism itself. And when we inject those weak versions of microorganisms or a dead microorganism inside our body, our antibodies get trained to fight against them. Some of the diseases which can be prevented by vaccines are cholera, hepatitis, smallpox, and tuberculosis. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.